Buddhism deserves to be a role model for society. It can bring lasting joy to the individuals, to the mass, and to the world. It has that ability. And we should feel proud about learning Buddhism. By the fact that we are practicing the Eightfold Path, we are contributing to world peace. The Buddha's main concern is that one should win freedom in the course of his life here on earth. He did not merely promise man salvation in heaven after death. This is the main difference between Buddhism and religion in general. And it's not just some salvation after this life, but salvation in the present life. You live happy, you live freely. The more that we practice Buddhism, if we feel happier, lighter, and freer, then we know that we're likely to be on the right path. But if everyone around us becomes happier, lighter, and freer, then we can be certain that we are on the right path. Because when we're happy ourselves, yes, we might be on the right path. But if everybody around us is also happy and lighter, then yes, definitely we are on the right path. The difference between Buddhism and religion here is that religion is the relationship between God and man and the promise of salvation after death. Whereas Buddhism, the focus is on the growth of the individual in the current lifetime and resolving sufferings in the present lifetime. Right? Mr. Chen, 2 weeks ago, he said, Buddhism is about solving problems, solving sufferings in the current lifetime. It's not about solving problems in the past or solving problems in the future, but to solve your problems now. So it's very down to earth, it's very modern, it's very applicable. And the reason it's applicable is because it's valuable and it can be used to solve problems in the current lifetime. So what does this mean to Pure Land practitioners? Well, if we are wishing for rebirth in Sukhavati, without trying to make this world a better place, a happy place, then we are turning Buddhism into a religion. We are making that wish, right, the afterlife wish for salvation. It's a mere promise after death. So that's religion. If we don't make our current life happy, make it better, then we are turning Buddhism into a religion. And that's not Buddhism. Does that make sense? Practicing and living Buddhist principles turns our environment into a happy place, and we turn Buddhism into reality. It's not just we study Buddhism and we wish for rebirth in the Western Pure Land, Sukhavati, and our world here is falling apart. We're leaving a trail of suffering behind, then that's not Buddhism. And we're pursuing something that is great. That is very contradictory, right, wouldn't you say? Right? It's not the Buddhist path. But we should turn Buddhism into reality. And that reality is now, the current life. And also, Buddhism is not philosophy if it's divorced from any kind of ethical spiritual discipline. In philosophy, it's just talk and there's no living it. And Buddhism is philosophy, but it's not a philosophy if you separate ethical aspect from it. Dr. Ambedkar says that religions, in a sense of morality, is the governing principle of every society. Every society needs to have laws and morality in order to survive, to be intact. Society here must have either sanctions of law or the sanctions of morality to hold it together. Without either, society must go to pieces. It's the law that keeps the antisocial minority within bounds, while the majority are governed by morality. In Sukhavati, we don't have laws because everybody is perfectly moral. In a society where you have no morality, then you need law to make up for it in order to stay intact. So an interesting question is that what happens when there is a widespread breakdown of morality in society? What happens when a lot of people in a society lose faith in religion? You can read it in the news. It is no longer able to hold a society together. There are signs here and there that society is beginning to fall to pieces. Riots, a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of anger. So those are signs that people are not happy. They want change. They don't believe what they've been given is the truth. That's why they want change. They demand change. And in order to prevent that, they need to have more laws. But then when you impose more laws, you can make the citizens more unhappy and they'll rebel. And we've seen this throughout history. And people hurt each other because they're unhappy. And it's happening every day in the news. What happens is when there's no trust, there's nothing meaningful to rely on, then there will be chaos. That's what happens when morality breaks down in society.